Thanks again for staying with us and joining us for our Spring 2019 Faculty Showcase at Yale College. Our fourth faculty today is Kate Redmon, and she teaches adult basic ed and GED, right?
Yes, I teach GED prep classes.
Okay, great. And you're a math instructor as well as other?
Yeah, my focus is math usually.
Great. And I've been excited about what Kate's doing because she's using Zoom, online video conferencing to connect with her students more, as well as she's been using tablets, right, to work with her students on math in some innovative ways. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say for us today. Thank you, Kate.
Okay. So I'm just going to talk about it all since I don't have a PowerPoint. So the deal is, at least in the world of GED, we've always had two options for classes. Either we have our in-person brick and mortar classes or we have online classes. And I'm sure you guys have the same thing going on. And my students always seem to think online classes are going to be easier for them. They want to sign up for those online classes, and yet once faced with them, you all are shaking your heads. Y'all know. They are not successful. And if you think your students are low skilled in the technical world or with writing, let's introduce a group of GED students. They have anywhere from second grade level to a 12th grade level across the board with their reading, writing, and math skills really challenging. Okay, so I guess my biggest issues that I had with the online classes was I was having low retention because I just wasn't making that connection with my students. They weren't seeing the value of the material. And it's across the board. It was everybody. I mean, Cheryl taught it before I did, and any GED teacher you talk to out there struggles to connect with their students, keep them in the class. Okay, so I was thinking, how can we bring the best of what we do in our classrooms into an online environment? And that is where Zoom came in. Okay, so I use Zoom in 3 different ways in my classes to connect with my students, and I was going to get to show you all these 3 in my PowerPoint, but I guess I'll tell you about them. But this is the landing page of my course. So my students have a lot of options. So I don't have a module style because I have to have curriculum from 3rd grade to 12th grade across 4 subjects. So if I had it in module view, it would be disgusting. You wouldn't even want to see it. Okay, hundreds and hundreds of modules. So instead, I have this navigation where they choose tools. Okay, so the second a student is admitted into my online class, the very first thing I do with them is an initial Zoom meeting. They meet me in Zoom. It's one-on-one. Okay. We discuss a lot of things in that meeting, but I'm able to make that rapport with them that says that I care about you. I'm a real person, not just a computer screen. And so they come, they meet with me in Zoom, and we talk about their test scores, what that means, what are their goals. I ask them about their learning styles, so we connect, and I give them that navigation piece like Ruth was talking about in person, and we navigate through the class together, and they get to see me use the various pieces of the class and see how that's used. So I get to make that initial contact with the students there through Zoom, and I really like that because it's easier to quit a class where there's not a person involved. Once you're a person to them, that's different. And I know that can be done with a welcome video, but I like the interaction. Okay, so that's the first way I use Zoom. Second way I use Zoom is my weekly virtual class, and that's my favorite thing. So I'll probably talk about this for a while, but I will pull up one of those because one of the benefits of a weekly virtual class is you can record them. So I'm getting a library of my own teaching here. So let's look at geometry for the GED here. And where is it? I wanted to show you a little bit of a class. So what I just, whoops, shut up Kate for a second. Okay, so what I wanted to point out is that even though my class is not brick and mortar, it really is a face-to-face class because of this component. So I'll just show you, you're gonna see a little bit of my students' faces here, but they all know these videos are up on YouTube. I get all their permission before we start, and I tell them to turn off their cameras, turn off their voices if they don't want to be in YouTube, because they are on YouTube. So, but here it is. And you can see a little bit of my students coming up, and you see us in the corner there.
So when we did, when we talked about perimeter and area the first time, we did it by definition. Do you guys remember what we defined perimeter as? A line around an object. It's the distance of a line around an object. And a lot of students learned like inside outside. I really kind of reject that language, so I'm glad you didn't say inside outside, because when now if you use that language when you go to surface area and volume, you would be confused. We said that perimeter was a line around the two-dimensional shape. So then how about area? What was area? Yeah, that's the language I don't like, not because it's not true, but because it's not clear.
Anyway, it goes on like that. You can see I have an interaction with my class, with my students. So I love this because, as you guys know, we're social beings and we learn better through social interactions, whether our students think online is going to be easier or not. So I'm able to ask them leading questions. I'm able to find out if they're getting it. You know, we're all brilliant when we're speaking into space, right? We think that we were fabulously clear, and then they go to do the work and we're like, well, I didn't teach what I thought that I taught. And so I'm able to communicate with them that way. So you can see right here I'm using a whiteboard function. I can use it, but I can also have my students annotate on it. I can have them do problems on it. And I can take notes that way. It's not the only function I use. I also share my screen like we're doing right now to show them different things on my computer. You can share documents from your Google Drive. So I don't do PowerPoints anymore. I should have done it for this presentation, but I usually do Google slideshows so that I can project that right from my Google Drive or example problems, things like that. And we can write all over it with the annotate function. It's great. And then the whole time I'm recording my classes so that once class is done, I can post up the video. So no one's required to come to class in person, although many do prefer it. But you know, it's an online class. They can't all be there at the same time. So they can watch the video if they can't attend. And that would be the same thing. What else? What else? Oh, the third thing I use. So I have my weekly virtual classes that I make the video library out of and the initial meeting. And then I also use it for office hours. So I have Zoom office hours where I'm just sitting in Zoom waiting for students to show up. And much like your real office hours, I'm usually by myself. But when they do show up, we're able to do problems right there on the whiteboard. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to explain how to do a math problem in an email, but it's not even, that's not easy. Okay, math is just not best expressed through words usually. The students want to see it, they want to see you doing it, and so I'm able to do that. So now Thatcher showed you, this is me. I tried in Zoom writing with my mouse. Good luck with that. So we finally got to what I needed to be compatible with Zoom, and you guys won't want to hear it. Thatcher, I'm not supposed to tell this. I had to use an iPad. Sorry. So with an iPad, I have my iPad on one hand and I have so it's like I'm two people in Zoom. I've got the computer on me so they can see my face and they can see what I'm writing on the whiteboard at the same time. So I can do my little problems from there or be putting up my slideshow, annotating, whatever. And so with the two going at once, I've made that work. And I don't know, I think that's all I have to say. So, do you guys have any questions about what I'm doing? Without a PowerPoint, it was super zippy.
Oh, you answered one of my questions because I teach online, and when you were saying you meet synchronously, I also offer synchronous, but I can't offer it at specific times because, mandate students to come.
Yeah.
They say it's not an online class.
Yeah, so I get to do blended learning because we don't fall under the college's things, so I get to innovate. I'm sorry. It's really nice.
I like what you said. I like that, and I record all of my Zoom, but I never thought of placing it on YouTube and bringing it in for others to see, so that's going to spark a new thing in my classes. The other one that
just showing you the video library there. Those are all YouTube videos.
How difficult was it for you to get your tablet to work with Zoom?
Well, it was super easy as soon as we had the right tool. But first I was trying to get a bamboo tablet. Could I attach it to my computer? I was trying to do all various things. And basically what we settled on is if I just get into Zoom with an iPad, some of the Android apps were freezing with Zoom, whereas the iPad was compatible. So get in using my iPad as another user, and then my hand is one user and my face is another. I just turn off the sound and I turn off the video for my little tablet, and it just works like a whiteboard, if that makes sense. So I'll be sharing that screen, and so my face just goes up as one of these little boxes here, you know, if I'm the talker, and then this is what's on my tablet being shared. So, and I can Zoom from my Samsung tablet. I do have 2 tablets now when you're the techie one in your program, but it can freeze with the annotate.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you're logging in to your Zoom meeting twice?
Twice. I'm twice logged in like you are right now, aren't you? Yeah, so same thing. I'm logged in twice. And I'm on my computer so they can see my face. There's actually research, and I tried to look it up for you to put it in my PowerPoint, but I was under the wire and I couldn't find it. So I couldn't go back and find it. But there's been plenty of research that shows that students learn better when they can see their teacher's face. And I don't know why that is, except for, again, we're social beings. So if you can get your face into what you're doing, your students will have better outcomes. So, yeah.
Do you have this library of your teaching?
Yeah, by unit. And I'm loving it because I'm getting more and more and more videos. These aren't the only ones. These are the full-length classes. So these are full-length classes. But I also do one-off videos for my students who have questions in Zoom. And then I'm able to post all these one-off videos. So I actually have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. So then if another student's struggling with that same homework problem, I can be like, oh, I made a video of that problem already. Let me just shoot that to you. And so it's really nice. So I'm ending up with a huge video library between my questions of the day, which is a whole other topic, it doesn't have to do with this, and these class things, and then the one-off ones I answer for my virtual students. Yeah, end up with a ton of example videos.
What do you learn from watching yourself teach?
Oh my gosh, a lot. But mostly it's that I say all the flippin' time. I wanted to just make like a soundtrack out of my deleted okays. I'm like, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. But I also say, does that make sense? About 3 times a minute. Does that make sense? So I have to edit that out. I even know on the editing track what does that make sense looks like. So I could just cut it out at a glance now. That's how good I am at that. But you wouldn't have to edit your videos to put them up there. You could just put them up. Like once I had just a review class where I did a bunch of different, I didn't bother to edit that thing. I just put up the link for my students. But when I'm wanting it to be YouTube final product, then I do some editing because I had some pride problems. So all the okays are going to be gone as far as y'all are concerned. It's Camtasia.
Okay.
Yeah, Camtasia's great. So, but by the way, to edit an hour-long class video takes me 2 to 3 hours, as Thatcher's heard me complain about. So I don't suggest you edit it unless you have more time on your hands than I do. I don't know why I do it, except like I said, I have pride problems. So if it's going to be out there for all of YouTube to see, I'm like, oh, it's going to be good. So anyway, okay, any other questions?
Yes,
sir.
And I apologize for coming in a bit late. You might have addressed this already. But how does the YouTube videos, how does that compare with using the Panopto to do your video library?
I don't know. I haven't used Panopto. I went to one training about Panopto and didn't catch on to it like I did Camtasia, so I just never. Panopto is the one where I can record over the PowerPoint videos, right? Yeah. Okay, I have done that. I have a couple videos through Panopto, but I don't have enough background in that to answer that question. I'm
You're
sorry.
making the videos from Zoom recording.
Yeah, it's a
right?
Zoom recording. I'm just editing in Camtasia because I find Camtasia, I know how to edit with it. So I don't know if you could edit a Zoom recording in Panopto.
You can. Panopto has a little mini editor, but nothing like
Camtasia.
Camtasia has a lot more features. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, great. What's your students' feedback? I mean, since you've moved into this modality, what's the big
Well, students in virtual GED class are actually getting their GEDs, which is unusual. It used to be they just struggled along for a month or two and gave up and decided that online was not their place. So I'm seeing more students get their GED, more students complete. Now, they have freedom in my class. So I get a freedom that you guys don't get. Mine just have to pass a test so they can learn anyway, and I don't have a grade attached. So it's very nice. Mine actually never have to watch a virtual class if they don't want to. I have 3 options of how they can make up hours in the class, and all I do is hours. And so I have some students who never use these videos. They don't like them. They like the online curriculum where they're just clicking buttons and going through, and that's all they ever do. And then I have students who hate the online curriculum. They can't learn that way, and all they do is my videos. You know, and then I have students who show up and want to Zoom with me, but then they don't want to do other things. So I have that flexibility, so it's beautiful. So, and I'm sorry y'all don't, but so the VUB guys do, right? We've got flexibility, we just got to teach them, right? So anyway, any other questions? No? Can I go off topic and show you that I have an OER too?
Absolutely, that'd
Okay,
be
sweet.
great.
Me too.
Okay. I'm going to go into a different class then. Because like I said, I have so many, I don't want to overwhelm students, but in my regular in-person class, I didn't like a single virtual textbook out there. I mean, I didn't like a single GED textbook out there. And so I just made my own, as Thatcher knows. And mine's link-based like hers was. And so, like I said, I've got so many years of math to teach, and I don't like the way anybody else teaches because I have pride problems. So I have 8 years of math in here. So, and because I like to give my students a lot of choice about how they learn, they have 3 different ways to learn any material. I have exploratory activities that they can do in every lesson. I have a regular class video, take notes, listen to a teacher. I have just the example videos. You know, the students are like, just show me how to do it, please, dear goodness, shut up. And then I have leveled practice at tons of different levels so students can practice different ways and styles. So I like it better than a textbook because you can combine all those beautiful things, text and activities and video, and get really rich.
Do you ever do tutoring? This is like a tutor's dream.
It's because I was a
Chemistry,
tutor.
math,
It's
yeah.
because I was a tutor that I behave like this. Before I was hired as a GED instructor, I was a tutor to adults with disabilities. I was
Awesome
contracted
tool.
through vocational rehabilitation. I had no resources like the college does. I had to teach every subject you can imagine, from diesel mechanics to cosmetology, and they'd be like, here's a student, teach them some stuff you don't know. And so I'd have to be creating and stealing from all over the internet. And so this is just an organization of all the things that I've had over the years to help teach these various subjects.
Have you ever talked to the tutoring center here about some of these tools? And
No,
I mean,
the Learning Center, I work in the Learning Center, and no, I've never talked to any of them about this.
that's
no.
too bad because I have since probably a handful this semester just from my one class I'm teaching, and it's just not adequate for what they need. This would be fantastic.
Yeah. One of my daughters works in the Learning Center as a tutor, and she's got the benefit of having been I tutored so that I could homeschool my daughters, so I was like here with the client and there with my kids. So anyway, she works in there, and I think they're doing good stuff in the Learning Center. They got a lot of tools, but yeah, this is useful because I have all the curriculum. So like an 082 teacher, it's the same kind of thing. 082 and 092, that's all the stuff in GED math. You know, it's years worth of math that they're trying to cram into one little book.
Yeah.
It's two. So I think it would be particularly useful for developmental ed. But yeah. Yeah. Did I just go off topic? Probably. I like to. Anyway.
It's all teaching.
That's right.
All right.
Excellent. So this was did you have a math book before, or is it?
Yeah, so I told
just
you
a
that our
GED
program
book?
uses an SCC open educational resource, which is actually a good resource. But I really do think that I teach math differently than most teachers. In 082 class, they're usually trying to get through a lot of content really quickly, so they have to condense. And I just have worked with enough students that if they didn't get it the first time around in 8 years, they're not going to get it when I then cram 8 years into 8 months just teaching it faster. So I'm always like, no, I want to teach it differently. And so when I started working here, I started gathering up the canvas for all the resources that were out there that were used, that were free, or that I had made, because I didn't want to use that textbook, because I thought, again, it went too quickly through too many years of math, and therefore made our students think math was, harder than it is. So, yeah. So again, it's my pride problem, so I had to create my own textbook. The rest of my program uses the SCC, which is actually a good OER, it really is. But okay. Anyway, okie dokie. Then I think we're done.
All right, Kate.